that's my self-care. I need to write those things down, or I need to say no to a party I was invited to. And I'm really serious about that. Like, no, I'm not going. Why? I don't really give reasons. It's just, hey, I'm not available. I'm sorry. And that's self-care to me because it's my time and it's my prerogative, and don't question me unless we're having a discussion.
Yeah. To another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode this week. I'm happy to be sitting down with another special guest, and today I'm sitting down with Lisa Perez. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited.
Yes, good. So, Lisa, can you tell the people just a little bit about yourself and who you are, what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always like to say that I'm a wife, a mother, a cousin, a niece, a daughter first. And then, of course, my professional title is I'm a spa owner, a mobile spa, Spa O on the go, and entrepreneurial success coach, speaker, and a business consultant.
I love that.
Yes,
Renaissance woman.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And I feel like most women in this like day and age, like entrepreneurs, are like doing multiple things and like wearing multiple hats. So
Yes.
I love seeing that, and these are the type of people like I love having on the show. So we have some mutual friends, and I came across your Instagram, and I was like, okay, she looks like someone that I would like to talk to.
Nice.
So thank you for coming on.
Yes, no, I love it. It's like I noticed right away as soon as I met you. I'm like, okay, this is definitely energy. You can see it. Once I saw your page, it was the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, she's about this life.
Yeah,
I can tell.
So can you tell us a little bit about Spa on the Go and what made you want to start that up?
Oh my gosh. Well, the reason I started was it was actually because of necessity. So I was a single mom for a long time. I have 2 children now, but it was originally, my first children were, sorry, I lose track because my son's 18 now. So it's like, oh my God, I forget. But it's mostly from like necessity that it started because I had a previous spa that I opened my first spa when I was 23 years old.
Wow.
Which, like, thinking back now, I'm like, how the heck did I do that?
Wow.
And it was just, I grew up in my mom is an entrepreneur herself. She owns a beauty salon in Washington Heights, New York, and in New Jersey when we moved to Jersey. But, she migrated from Dominican Republic. So that's all I knew. It was like trade and, her working long hours. She has 4 children. And that's what I saw. Like, to me, that was normal life.
Yes.
And so I guess for me, moving forward, I was introduced to holistic things more in my teenage years. I'm 41 now, so it was when we didn't hear about this, especially in our community. So I was introduced to yoga and meditation and all of that at a really young age. And I guess in my teens. And I didn't want to do hair. That was the one thing I didn't want to do. I felt it was a big responsibility. And also I liked wearing my hair curly. Yeah. And as you know, my parents are Dominican, so it was all about straightening the hair, relaxing the hair. And that just wasn't my thing. Yeah. So I looked into just more of the wellness approach. And I just fell into massage therapy first. And then just followed into skincare. And it's been 18 years since. So I went to school and I was pregnant with my son, my firstborn. And I was like, what am I going to do with myself? Because I was selling cars at the time. I was selling Hondas. I was a saleswoman and they were really long hours. And I was like, this is not my life at that time. So I wrote down a few things that I wanted to do and be when I was a little girl. And it was a few things. It was a nurse, a teacher, all these things, a writer, a movie writer and stuff like that. And I was like, all right. So I researched each thing, and nursing, I almost went to do nursing. But then, all these pop-ups back in the day were coming up and massage therapy came through. And I was like, oh, this is actually how I live my life. Like, I don't take Tylenol for headaches. I don't do this. And I literally went to the school and I signed up right away, like days later. And I was pregnant. So like... I graduated massage school when my son was, he was born in February. He was 4 months. So I graduated in May of 2000. 6 or 7.
Mhm.
And that's how I started.
Wow.
But then, fast forwarding, then I opened up with my partner at the time at 23. I had my son. I was a new mom. It was a mess.
Oh my God.
It was a crazy mess if thinking back now. But once I opened the spa, it just wasn't working for me. I stayed there 7 years with my partner at the time there. And that's when I decided, you know what? I love it. Like you don't do something
unless you really love it.
Yeah, but I'm like, I just don't belong here.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt. And it took me a lot of time. And I was very young and I didn't work through a lot of things at that time. So I was always angry, upset. I would argue all the time. I would slam things, break things. And I was just like, what's wrong with me? I was suppressing a lot.
Yeah.
But I just finally made a decision to leave, even though it was a lot of sweat and tears there. It was my business with a partner. I was like, I have to leave. It just is not suiting me. I didn't get any guidance through this. I just said, I need to get the hell out of here. And I did. And that's when Spa O on the Go was born. And it was based out of leaving that, starting over, just being a single mom. And it was just based out of necessity. But having skin in the game, it's not like I started over automatically. It was just like, oh, it's just now how do I perfect this where it's mobile? Now it's, okay, I go to someone's house. I need this. Oh, I missed this. Oh, I missed that. And then you just learn as you go. So that's how it just Spa O on the Go was born.
Wow.
In a little nutshell.
Yeah. I love that. I love a good like pivot story because most of our businesses, right? Like at some point it's going to pivot.
Sure is.
You know, and especially like with our lives, like growing and evolving and changing and figuring out like what we don't want and what we do want, like your business is also going to change with you.
It sure is. You grow with it and it grows with you. And pivoting doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing. Sometimes, oh, we're going to pivot. And it's like, no, sometimes it's because you need to, because you are growing. It's not always a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, it's just keeping that in mind because people are scared of that. Like, oh, when you pivot, oh my God, because people are afraid of change.
Yes.
But sometimes it's a great change that will make you more money and you'll be more successful, you know? Yeah. So it's also keeping that in mind too when you pivot.
And I think too, like just the idea of like letting go sometimes and surrendering and like making space for new blessings to come in, because sometimes we can hold on to things so tight, like thinking like this has to work because like I put so much like blood, sweat, and tears or time into it. And it's like, no, like knowing when something's not working and like, I'm just going to take a step back and try something new. And I don't know if it's going to work, but we're just going to go for it.
Exactly.
Very powerful.
Very.
So let's talk about wellness and let's talk about like your own wellness, right? Because like us as entrepreneurs, we need that time too for ourselves, right? Even if we are like a wellness entrepreneur and we're providing that for other people, when do you take like the time and the space to do that for yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I am in the last few years, like I want to say maybe the last 4 years is where I've been very firm about doing everything self-care. And self-care for me, how that looks like, it's more a lot of solitude. Because, you know, when you are running a business, you're always on, you know, like you're always on and hello and hi. And no matter what just happened from where you were to entering your car, to entering that door, to go to work or your business, you're on. Not because you're trying to shut away, but you're on to the next thing, the next transition. So the last 4 years, it's more of like solitude because I had my kids young, had a business young. You know, grew up in a Dominican household, you know, it's loud, you know? So you don't even know what that is until you realize I've had quite a few meltdowns in my lifetime. Unfortunately, some of them were really bad. And some of them were like, okay, I know what to do to not let that happen again. But that took a lot of meltdowns to get to that point. So within the last 4 years, it's been more of, I get a lot of massages. Like I tell my family, guys, you can buy me gift cards to spas. Like I actually love going to them. I do. I love getting facials. I literally love doing everything that I do. Getting body scrubs. I love to read. I take time in the morning to sit down and write down like just little things like, okay, either my to-do list for the day or the week, or like, okay, I really need to sit down and think about the next season or the next year. So it just depends where I'm at in that season. And that's my self-care. I need to write those things down, or I need to say no to a party I was invited to. And I'm really serious about that. Like, no, I'm not going. Why? I don't really give reasons. It's just, hey, I'm not available. I'm sorry. You know, and that's self-care to me. because it's my time and it's my prerogative, and don't question me unless we're having a discussion.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned that self-care is for me, like putting myself first, even with my children. Self-care also, because there's different categories, right?
Yeah.
It's like for yourself, your friends, your family, your
Yes.
parent, your kids, and it's
Uh-huh.
like there has to be self-care for each one.
Yes.
So even with my kids, when they're trying to act a little funny, it's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. Well, what do you mean? And it's like, well, because I need time for this. We didn't talk about that. Like just setting those boundaries of like, I'm sorry, I know that's supposed to be the perfect mom, but that doesn't exist. I'm actually a human being just like you. It's having like, that's self-care. And then it's like, zip, quiet.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I needed, quiet time. It's like, no, I need a little space. I'm also very honest when I'm on my cycle with my children, with my son and my daughter. Like, hey, like, especially my son, he's tested me a lot. He's 18 now, but it's been intense. The perfect example was when I started to understand my cycle and that week before our cycle that we're like crazy women.
Yes.
And we're not. It's just we haven't learned to manage those
the hormones.
the hormones. And I remember that was one thing that I spoke to him about. I said, listen, please just make sure you do this before I get pissed off. Like I'm PMS. I'm about to PMS right now. Yeah. And so I don't flip on you. And then you say that is because of what I told you.
Right.
Just keep that in mind that I'm going to have my period soon.
Right.
And even that like would help. And I'm like, ooh, okay. I didn't have to flip out and yell and have my veins pop out of my face.
Yeah.
That's self-care to me.
It is. Like you're teaching him about women. Like women have this time where they're going to act a little crazy maybe, or they're just going to be more sensitive. And it's like, you're teaching him to like respect that and understand that. Yeah. Exactly. I love that.
And then, just reading, taking a long ride, sometimes maybe driving a little slower, not rushing. That has been the most self-care kind of vibes lately. Just like, not like, oh yeah, we have to go. It's like, no, it's only 30 seconds. Let me not give myself that anxiety of go, go, go. It's just really tapping into that part of like not having to rush right this second out the door. Yeah. Like, let's go. My thing right now is resetting. Like, let me reset, even if it takes 5 minutes, But of course, like self-care is manicures, pedicures, even though I think that's more maintenance.
Yeah. For sure.
That's a maintenance thing. But I just think it depends on the person's circumstance. Like, what does self-care look like to you right now? Like your season, your year, and then it should be evolving with you. So that's what self-care to me is.
I love that. That is a beautiful explanation. And you hit so many different points, right? Like you said, it doesn't have to just be like the nails, the hair, the facials and stuff. And like that is more maintenance. And those are beautiful things if we can find the time and the money to get those things done.
Exactly.
But I think it's important too, like you said, setting the boundaries and saying no and conserving your energy and maybe like just slowing down. Like those are also like really important self-care tools.
Super. And what's also interesting, and I deal with a lot of clients just like yourself, it's providing that information and knowledge, but it's also, that is work too. To educate someone on your boundaries is not going to be smooth, because sometimes what I've learned throughout the years is like, oh, it's so much work to freaking have to tell someone this, but it's like that's actually part of the job.
Yeah.
Because my boundary is my boundary and someone doesn't know it. So yes, just be aware that it's going to take time and energy. So find those spaces of, you know what, I should talk to that person that's making me feel this way. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
Maybe not today, finding that. And it is work. It's part of the human experience to always talk and have people, you want to be treated. You have to demand how you want to be treated. So that takes work. So it's like sometimes like, yeah, I'm finding myself and I love myself. And it's like, yeah, you have to do work around that.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah, forever.
It never stops.
Yeah.
Yeah. The self-work and like the introspection and just like understanding like this is what I need, like this is what I require, and this is the way that like I need to function in my life in order to feel like regulated.
Exactly.
Because it's so easy to like, especially I think as like entrepreneurs, like we want to please people, we want to show up for people. That's part of our job,
It
like
is.
to make people happy. We want to get the ratings and we want make people to come back and
Yeah.
all these things, but that doesn't mean you should like sacrifice yourself
Exactly.
in that process. It's like, no, these are my hours.
Yes.
These are the hours that I'm going to answer the phone. This is the time, I'm going to get back to emails, social media time. So like
Absolutely.
balancing all that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we're polished, so we understand that. For
Mhm.
someone who is starting, they might not understand that feeling because, they're like, okay, how do I build this to be able to set those boundaries?
Mhm.
So it's also like, because sometimes when we do provide that type of information, they're like, well, what happened to this part? Why am I giving so much? It's like sometimes that is where the sacrifice is, where you have to understand where that niche is and then the boundary. Not that you shouldn't have the boundary, but it's also know that you have to put a little bit more in the beginning, like anything. Like when you move into a new home, you have to put in more work into that home when you first move in. It's kind of the same thing. And it's like always be prepared for that. Because I feel like we as humans, it's like, well, this is my goal and this is what why isn't it smooth? It's like, well, it just started, so it's not going to be smooth.
Exactly.
And I always compare it to like moving into a new space of like your home.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need this. Oh my God, I need a garbage here. Oh wait, this is missing. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship.
It
You're
is.
just like rolling with it every day.
Always something being thrown at you, always something changing.
I know.
Yeah. Love it though. I mean, it's definitely a blessing to be able to be in a place in a space to like own your own business, especially in this economy.
I
It's
know.
crazy out
I know.
here.
The economy
It's
is
crazy. But I want to talk a little bit about the benefits of massage.
Mhm.
So some people might be into massage, some people might not, some people might feel like it's not like useless. I don't want to use that word, but some people might feel like, oh, I could just like have my boo like rub on me, So like, what are the actual benefits of massage and why should people be getting them?
Yeah, I mean, there's different modalities, right? So, and massage therapists become therapists for different reasons because they want to be physical therapists or trainers or whatever the case. For me, it's more of a healing component of the mental and the body. It's like connected for me. So it's a lot of energy and like people are like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize I needed that. Not just from a muscle manipulation standpoint, but of like a mental. You disconnect from your phones, especially now, right? Our generation. It's like you disconnect from the world just for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Some people 2 hours, it depends.
Yeah.
You disconnect and you don't realize how important it is to disconnect. Like you're like, oh wow, I'm so embedded in this lifestyle. So you disconnect mentally, which gives your brain some rest. And also your body relaxes, so you're less anxious. I thought, because, I come from a Caribbean background, that anxiousness was not for us. Like, how dare anyone say that I'm an anxious woman? And I was super anxious. I wanted to be everywhere now and fast. And what time? And why aren't you here? And what did you do? And I'm like, oh my God, that is being anxious.
Yes.
And I didn't realize until really being involved into this field of like how important it is, the reset of like breathe, it's okay, like take a few deep breaths. So the benefits can vary, obviously, again, depends on the season. Because someone could have lost a loved one and they needed to be touched and hugged by someone and they didn't have that. So the power of touch is like beneficial. Or the anxiety, and we apply some lavender and then they relax and they're like, oh wow, I didn't know I can use that type of aromatherapy to calm me. So I think it depends on the person and the circumstance. I always say the season because it depends on the season and what's going on. But overall, massage to me, it's like, especially for me, like I told you, I stumbled into massage therapy online, looking into nursing, and I come from being sexually assaulted to then like finding massage therapy and like, whoa, it's very powerful. So it's very healing on so many levels that people don't even share, and sometimes I'm just like, wow, like how amazing
Mm-hmm.
To like don't touch me, to like now I'm healing,
Yeah.
in through touch, like the power of touch. So massage is just amazing. I don't know. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are timid, ticklish, but you just have to work to certain things, certain barriers of what's going on in your body to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you try it with the right therapist or the right modality, also,
Mm-hmm.
because you could do stretching, you don't have to get undressed. You can find how it's beneficial for you. But I think it's for everyone from a mental and a body standpoint.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I love that, Lisa. And I remember like my first time getting a massage, I had worked at Massage MV at
Okay.
like front desk, just
Yeah.
like helping out
Hmm.
when I was young. I was like 18 years old. And at that time, like I wasn't into massage. I never knew the benefits of it. I probably felt the same way. Like, I don't want random people touching
Yep.
me. And the massage therapist would always come behind the desk and they're like, when are you gonna get a massage? And I'm like, I don't know. So we had like incentives, like
Yes.
to work there and get a free massage, I think, after a certain amount of hours or something. I don't remember.
Hmm.
But I got a massage and I was like, I've been missing out. Like,
Yes.
what have I been doing in my
I
life?
know. I know.
And it was just like, it was the most gentle massage. Like, the
Mhm.
person I had at the time, like, she was just really like gentle. And now I like a deep
Yeah,
teacher,
now you've
Now,
upgraded.
yes, I'm like, get in there, please.
Yes, yes.
And from that moment on, I was just like, this is something I need to do often, like at
Yes.
least once a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that you are helping people do that, and especially like going to their houses.
Hmm.
And do you also go to like workspaces?
Oh gosh, yes. We do corporate chair massages and we
Mhm.
get hired. And also send our therapists to big companies, which
Mhm.
is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best.
That is amazing.
Yeah, since 2014.
Wow.
Spa on the go, and we've been everywhere. Spa parties, so we do like bachelorette gatherings in the home,
Mhm.
hotels, anywhere.
Yeah.
We've been everywhere. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut,
Amazing.
tri-state.
Wow.
Yes, it's been a beautiful journey.
You're doing amazing work out here. Like,
Thank you.
keep it up. I love seeing people just like educating people about the benefits of not just massage, but just self care in general. Like, people
Absolutely.
really, really need that. And health and wellness, I think, is sometimes just overlooked.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't realize like a lot of the stress and anxiety that they have in their life is coming from them not prioritizing their health and wellness.
Yes, and themselves.
And
Yes.
themselves. Yeah. What would you say to a person who's like, I don't need a massage, or I don't have money for that, or it's too expensive. Like, what do you
Hmm.
say to those people?
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask them like, well, so what do you do that you like as a hobby, or that it takes care of you to feel good, not just feel good like having a drink, but feel good like, without substances. And I'll hear their answer, and then we elaborate a little bit what the answers are.
Yes.
It just depends. Like, it's kind of like, okay, so obviously you haven't had certain services. Is something happen, or do you feel weird? And some people are also self-conscious with their bodies, so it could be a number of things. But I always just ask, well, why? Or let's talk about that. Let's talk about why not.
Uh-huh.
So it just depends on their answers. And
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. I feel the same way, girl, with like dance and fitness. It's all wellness. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I do ask people sometimes like who are like, oh wait, class is too expensive or this is too expensive. And I'm like, well, how much are you spending when you go out and like you buy a martini?
Oh yeah.
Or you go and you like go through a drive through, or you're spending money on Starbucks every day. Like, these are things that people don't realize like add up, right? And it's just that reframe of, I'm spending my money on this, but this can also go towards something
Yes.
that might benefit me for the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, when they say, I haven't heard it's expensive in a while, I think it's, I don't know if they're just not telling me now.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's, when I did hear that a lot, it's like, well, this is something that's beneficial. It has its value, and these are some of the reasons. But once you do it, then you'll understand, and just kind of keep it there. Because I have noticed that people get annoyed when you tell them about, like, well, you go out and you spend $200 and you're like living it up, then you have a hangover or you don't feel good. But this is actually gonna be more productive for you, like to love yourself more and feel better and not be hungover the next day. They don't hear that.
Yeah.
Because of where they're at.
Right.
So I remember saying that years ago, and I'm like, I should stop.
Yeah.
Because it sounds judgmental, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, well, this is what's happening in your life, and you're telling me. But it's like, all right, you know what? I'll refrain from like saying those things, and just say, okay, well, maybe you could let your family know as a gift, like, and that's when the whole special occasion thing comes in.
Yeah.
But once they get in there, they love it.
Yeah.
Because it's a service of loving yourself, and you don't realize it until you actually do it. And some people just don't know that that's what they're missing, like yourself.
Yeah.
Like, because the moment you were like, what have I been doing not getting this done? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
So especially our community, it's like it's taken a longer time. And now is that I'm seeing like our people like on the massage table, and it's like amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, finally.
Yeah.
But before it was not like that.
Yeah.
At all.
Not at all. Oh, well, thank you, Lisa, so much for coming today and spreading your wisdom and your knowledge and just educating people on self-care and massage.
Absolutely.
Please tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so of course on social media, Spa O on the go. And with my personal page, it's Lisa Empowered with Lisa. And I do a lot of events there, retreats, and just a lot of fun stuff. And you could find me there. And on the website, you can book online. Texting and email is usually best to book an appointment, or you could just buy your gift cards right online.
Yes. And the holidays are coming up.
Yes, they are.
So
absolutely.
Get your gift cards, support a small Latina-owned, women-owned business, okay? Thank you so much. And if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure you leave a rating and review. That would help us out so much. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, drop a comment, let us know something that you learned in this conversation, something that resonated with you today. And we'll see you in another episode. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Registration is now open for both of our retreats coming up in 2025. We are going back to Arizona. Yep, back to where it started, baby. We're heading to Sedona in Scottsdale for 4 nights, 5 days to heal, to meditate, to ground ourselves, to have a deeper connection with ourselves. This is going to be a completely transformative experience. Join us for the Phoenix Rising Retreat from March 13th to the 17th, 2025. This is going to be amazing. If you've been asking about our first domestic retreat of 2025, well, this is it. We literally just opened registration. So reserve your spot. It's going to be freaking amazing. You can find all of our details on our website. And don't forget the Goddess Retreat in Greece. We're heading to Mykonos and the beautiful hidden gem Andros for 7 days, 6 nights from May 7th to the 13th. This is going to be an amazing experience if you're looking to connect with your feminine energy, if you're looking to soften, if you're looking to heal, if you're looking to really have a deeper connection with women and community and nature, and to soak in all that Greek goddess energy. So if you're interested and you're looking to take some time for yourself and start 2025 by putting yourself first and prioritizing your mental health, your self-care, your spirituality, your connection with yourself, then I invite you to register for our retreat. The only thing that's required to book is a deposit, and then you can make monthly payment arrangements up until January and February for the retreats. So any questions, feel free to hit us up at Real Hot Retreats on Instagram. Take a look at our previous retreats, see if you're feeling out the vibes,